on moving on to another attempt at reorganizing perhaps our constitution, the Punguza Mizigo initiative that has, Shuri, just under a month?
Less.
About three weeks to go.
Yes,
and what's the scoreline now? Last week when we had this discussion, the scoreline was 4-1. 4 had rejected.
Correct.
Just 1 had adopted. Shuri, where are we today?
We are now at 7-1.
7-1.
Wow.
7-1 because Nyamira, Kiambu and Kisii are the latest to reject it.
Correct.
And it doesn't look very nice for Third Way Alliance and Dr. Ekuro Okot, the owners of the Punguza Mizigo referendum push. Looks like it will be very, very unlikely for any other county assembly to vote in support. So I wouldn't be surprised, Yvonne, if by the end of this period, maybe by about October 18th, the scoreline reads 46-1. Because look at the trend and the speed at which it is happening. Maybe the politics have overtaken the initial interest or the initial desire by the Third Way Alliance. Maybe their recommendations have been looked at more politically than anything else.
But
in any case,
to be fair, Shuri, amending
the Constitution is a very
political
process.
and a legal process.
And that's where I'm heading to. You see, if you look at the bill, you cannot amend it. Once it's out of IEBC and presented to the 47 county assemblies, even members of the county assembly cannot amend it, even via public participation. No matter how much contributions they receive from members of the public on the content and probably how to amend it, it cannot be amended. You pass it as is or reject it as is from the county assemblies. And so maybe the buy-in from the politicians or from the political class ought to have come in earlier before the bill was published and taken through the motions. Because as it happens now, I would look at it like the owners of the big political parties have instructed their members reject it. And that's why you see it's going through a process of rejection.
And they basically are just looking like they're going through the motions.
I would be very surprised if it gets any other county assembly in support.
Prof?
Yes, I agree 100%. But this particular bill, regardless of my political affiliations, I think is a warped bill in this sense that as a scientist, if you come and tell me that our governance structure is expensive, I just want you to put the figures. What is our budget? How much are you spending on governance? And why is it expensive? In a very fundamental way, if you're saying that we have a constitution where we expect effective representation, it actually means more persons. And then on the other hand, you're telling us that you need to cut the representation by half. Why? The truth of the matter is that the amount of money we're wasting on corruption, the amount of money that you're wasting on ineffective governance, the 1 trillion that we're actually talking about. That
cannot be accounted for.
We can actually afford good representation. The problem is not the numbers of people that we have. The problem is that they're totally ineffective in the first instance. So Punguza Mizigo is exciting in this sense that Third Way Alliance is telling us that if we reduced the monkeys in the forest, then they'll become lions. How now? You just end up with fewer monkeys. These guys cannot deliver. The fellows we're talking about are ineffective, they're inefficient, they're answerable to nobody. These are the issues we should be dealing with.
Not the numbers.
Rather than saying now, we had 20 monkeys, let's have 15. You still have same monkeys, and this thing will not be effective at all.
Well, same monkeys. Let me have Linus. So let's have Linus weigh.
I will not look at the monkeys per se. I will look at it this way. Where is the Mizigo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or rather, where are the Mizigo? Maybe this bill provides us an opportunity to discuss at a greater length where the Mizigo is.
Correct.
Because the other time we discussed it here and we said if you take away the entire parliament and say we will no longer have a parliament in Kenya,
yes,
it's about less than 40 billion shillings.
How much money do you say?
The total budget for 2019-2020. If you say we will no longer have a judiciary, it's about 17 billion.
Correct.
If you say do away with the entire devolved system, it's about 378 billion, inclusive of conditional grants.
Yeah.
In total, it's about 430 billion shillings for a budget of 3.01 trillion shillings. So the bulk of the Mizigo is at the national government. So even if you were to reduce the number of members of parliament, even do away with devolution, do away with the judiciary, you will still have Mizigo. So maybe discuss the Mizigo in a broader version, and then identify ways of reducing the Mizigo.
Here's a counter. I mean, you know, when your house is leaking, I mean, you try to plug every hole, no matter how small. Like little by little, it counts for something, Linus, or no?
I think I agree, and it's what Punguza Mizigo and the team that behind it failed to do, which is find a selling point.
Exactly.
What are you marketing?
Wasn't it the counties?
You see, the
putting
problem
more
with
money there, making that
the problem with the Punguza Mizigo is you cannot cherry pick it. You accept it as is, take it as is, or leave it. It's a very broad thing. Number two is the political marketing of this exercise. It's not been very effective. Basically, what Ikuru Aukot and his team have done is to do what technocrats do. That, guys, listen, this is a very reasonable thing. Pass it. It doesn't work that way with politics. But I also think the BBI and whoever else out there is intending to propose changes to the constitution should follow this conversation very carefully. Just look at the public behavior, because first of all, constitutions must have a moment that spurs the population to actually saying we need this. Clearly, Punguza Mizigo is failing to generate that. Initially, it did. I think there was a lot of disquiet or discomfort about the excesses of parliament, the lack of efficiency in the National Assembly and the Senate. So much so that people are thinking, oh, this is a good opportunity to kick this greedy lot out of the way. But now that's behind us. Now it's settling down. It's settling down. And the more those feelings subside, the less attractive the Punguza Mizigo bill is becoming. But the people that should worry is BBI.
Why is that?
If this is received this way, it means they really need to work hard to generate public interest. Remember, 2010 did not just walk in. This was a ceasefire document. We had a near civil war in 2007. What about 2005? 2005 was about the 2002 revolution, sort of. And prior to that, the many years against the Kanu rule, the rallying call has always been, we're going to change the constitution, we're going to have a better place, better laws, and all that. Now, you're coming with Punguza Mizigo and BBI. What are you saying? And remember the fire that has been coming from purported opponents of BBI. They already have some very killer lines to counter the BBI conversation with. What is it about? Is it about positions? You want to expand it to from 2 to 5? And these are very serious arguments that BBI will have to contend with. So this should not be about Punguza alone. BBI should watch this.
Should also watch it, and it's what you're talking about, whether we have a constitutional moment. I think we discussed it at one moment. I'd like us to move to the next one.
In fact, a small addition. When you talk about Punguza Mizigo for Third Way Alliance, there has been this narrative of Ongeza Mizigo for BBI. So it's probably something that Paul Mwangi and team will have to be very careful about, because if that is the narrative, then it may, if they come up with a bill, or if we ever get into such a situation, it may suffer the same scenario as Punguza Mizigo is. But it's all about politics. Actually, amending the constitution is more a political process than a legal process.
Even though